Hello. Thanks for meeting with me via this asynchronous format. Let me know if you have questions after this, or if you want me to follow up, or I can even validate and read stuff that you've done. I'm the real deal, the full services librarian. I use OneNote, and I've written down some notes. I've de-identified it since I have to share this video publicly. I don't say any names or classes or things like that, and I have lots of videos, so I don't think I have a big YouTube follower anyway. When I was talking to you earlier, I was like standardized testing reform, but it's also entrance exam reform too, because I think there's colleges all over the place that are dropping SAT, ACT, and they're doing a more holistic entrance exam. We could try looking at some of these things. It's always good to take notes. So if you don't use OneNote, you could use like a piece of paper, or you could use a Google Doc. But every time you write something down, then you can go in and test it in the places that you've already looked before, and then see if you turn up something more. Because there's about 2 million scholarly articles that are published every year. It just gets out of hand. So I'm going to show you a few places to go. First one, library catalog. Let's try the holistic entrance exam. Let's try that in the library catalog. Any of the keywords that are listed will show up. And I just remember holistic, because do you remember when the actress from, oh shoot, what was the show? She got busted for like bribing the entrance people and then went to prison. What was her name? Oh, I can't remember that. It was a big scandal, but they were talking about entrance exams and holistic things. So if you search for anything, you can do natural language searching, so you don't have to do ands, ors, nots, or anything like that, which I'll show you in another database. But in this one, you can just throw keywords in. Think of the catalog as kind of like 7-Eleven or Target. It has a little bit of everything, but not comprehensively everything. So it's a good place to try and look at all the different angles. So this will be looking at public policy, education. This might be looking at psychology of testing. That's my dog. And so you can see where this is showing up the most. How do you do that? Well, first of all, and you can look at the keywords that they're using. I'm already reading this. Exceptional medical, standardized entrance exams. But what we can do is we can go straight to peer-reviewed journals. I'd also recommend book chapters and books and things like that. But before I do that, since we're kind of like looking for what's going on right now, the best one we can do is like the creation date over here on the side. 1962 was some time ago. Let's bump this up to, I don't know, 2018. At least let's put it in our current century. If this is being talked about and debated, if we look at like the last few years, this might really help. Okay, so there's still 1,700 results. What we do here is we're looking for more keywords to add to our list. So when we go into a database, we can get those things that we're looking for. How do we find more keywords? You can go to subject, and this in popularity is the subject of everything, the 1,700 things in here. So we can say, oh, academic achievement. Is that aptitude? Is that intelligence? Why do they let people into school? That might be a big one, is like, what is measured to determine fitness? What is the criteria for entrance into school? Might be one of our questions. But you can narrow it down to higher education, because SAT and ACT go to that. So that cuts it by like a third. Hello. All of a sudden, my holistic graduate enrollment management. Oh, holistic admissions processes. I'm going to go holistic admissions. So that's the screening process before somebody's accepted. Entrance examination coaching industry? What? I actually took a prep course for what did I take? The GRE. What is it called? Entrance Exam Coaching. Goodness gracious. So you can totally load up on the test and then be like, be just two-dimensional. You can look, there's like newspapers and all sorts of things you can see on the resource type, but if we just go down to peer-reviewed journals, we'll cut it down by even another third. And this is what's required, I think, for your assignment. I'm going to put something on the camera. For peer-reviewed articles, you start to see some of these same things show up. But peer-reviewed means that this is what education and policy people and politicians are talking about, and they're using like a critical framework, a very strong methodology, and a very formal writing style. So this isn't like a letter to the editor. And some of these are going to be irrelevant. So an anthropocosmic view of Confucian traditions might not be good. Admissions initiatives, enhancing equity. I know that one actually looks pretty good. Okay, so the first thing, peer-reviewed, I told you a little bit about that. Another one is if you click on an article from this area, there's two things you can do. I'm helping you write your 50 words. First of all, citation right here. There's a citation generator, so you don't have to do that. It's typically got something wrong. Yeah, like this one right here, that should be capitalized, that E. But it's usually pretty close. Another thing you can do is you can send an email, so you can just send yourself a whole bunch of things as you go. So here's one article that looks pretty good. How do we get to that article? Click on full text available. And it'll look all over the place. We subscribe to like so many different journals and databases, and it'll give you a list of which ones it might show up in. If you run stuck, send me an email. Send me the citation, and I'll track down the article for you. Is that a third thing? Trying to write your 50 words. Sorry for the delay. Fast forward in the YouTube video at this point. When it sends you to a database like this, you have the advantage of knowing that, well, if this article was good, this database might have other good stuff in it. This is so slow. And, oh yeah, there's more articles right there that they're talking about. So sometimes there's little nuggets of gold on the outside that will help you track down more things if there's one that looked really good. I don't know what the number is. Is that the number of times that it's been cited? The thing that I would like to show you when you get into the full text of the article is you can download it and all those things. But if you see this right here, keywords, you can't because it's like microscopic. It doesn't necessarily matter if you got the perfect article or not. But higher education access, that would be a good one. Let's try that in another one. In another database that I have. Higher education access, academic outcomes, equity, admissions, institutional programs, evaluation. Okay. So you get the idea for the catalog. That's a great place to start. And you could probably find a ton of stuff there. Different keywords that we have. Give it a try. Narrow down by dates and things like that. But what if we wanted to go into a specific database and find things? There are, two databases that I want to recommend. I'm going to move my head again. One is an education database, and the other one is a public policy database. The public policy database is going to be cities, municipalities, counties, states, federal. Let's look at that one first. So you can go in if you know the name of a database. I know this one's at the top of the list. It's called PAIS. This public policy. Let's try some of the keywords that you had shown me before. Let's go to advanced search. This is where we get into the Boolean operators, and it's sometimes messy, but if you do it in advanced search, it's not a big deal. So let's do ACT or SAT. So that's one. We want to find every article in here that has one of those two words. And then for the next row is our next concept. And admissions. Oh, I didn't think about. And then let's add a row. And another concept we could do. Higher education. I put stuff in quotes so those two keywords stick together if you want a phrase. So it doesn't do higher here and education there. Higher education or college. And then let's see what we find. So this is only looking in scholarship of public policy, which sounds, it is as painful as it sounds. I don't know how people do public policy analysis. But look at this. This might be beyond the scope of your paper that you're looking at, but this is going to give you points of argument. So if you're looking for a pro or con, here's one where low-income students are, depending on how something happens, can be affected by the SAT. So you don't necessarily have to talk about the whole topic that you're talking about in one single article, but you can take little pieces. So here's a problem with the SAT. Here's another one with fairness. That coaching one might be another article. And you can just grab these little pieces. So imagine that you're just pulling bits of conversation from scholars to make your own argument, and that's a good way to go. In this database, you can go by dates also. So let's zoom up to our current century again. It's thinking. And that same one's there. High school ranking, affirmative action. Yeah, it seems like it might be like a discriminatory thing. Preparing students for those tests. Again, you can go in subject. If you find one that's a good search, you can see what's going on. Let's try adding another keyword. So here we see that first line. Here was the second line. They're separated with an and. Let's add one more and. And so the next concept I'm putting in parentheses, I'm going to do reform or holistic. So that's just another line in the advanced search that we did. Fingers crossed. Out of these 1,700 results, can we find somebody proposing something different? That same article shows up again and again. I was hoping a miracle would happen. But sometimes you just got to wade in and just go through each one. Is there a title that looks good? I was hoping to make this less painful. One thing you can do, let's go back to our search. I'm going to click on modify search. Oh, I want to do it in the advanced search. I hope it keeps everything. Yes, it did. I'm going to add a row. I'm going to do holistic or reform. And now I'm going to ask that those things, instead of showing up everywhere or anywhere, I want to make sure that they're in the abstract. Let's do admissions in the abstract. Let's do everything in the abstract. So what that means is the author or authors of the article felt that it was so important that it had to be in the summary, not just kind of scattered here and there. Let's see if this narrows it down. If we really wanted to go super narrow, we could search only in the title. Oh, there's only 2. Ha ha ha. This is what I was looking for. college admissions exam, scholarly journal, could do better, education policy since 83. Nice. Okay. I'm going to grab this whole thing. Let's go to another database. So PAIS, public policy. Let's go to an education database. And this will be the last thing I show you. This video is painfully long already. If you go under databases, if you don't know the name of the database, you can go by major field of study. So let's go to education. And then whoever the librarian is, we have many librarians, they'll have chosen their favorite database for the top. So education full text. And let's see if we can cut and paste that same search in. Otherwise, we could retype it in advanced search. Let's see what happens. I think it's going to choke. Oh, it didn't choke. Oh, it did choke. Okay. Okay. Bear with me for just a second. I'm going to delete AB because I know it'll take the parentheses. I need a video editor to take out all these waiting moments. Some databases don't do the same language, but you could go into advanced search and definitely do that same thing. Yay, 166. Oh, Common Core all of a sudden goes in here. Lower standards. Oh, here we go. Holistic admissions. Let's try another one. Higher education access. No, let's try entrance exam reform. Or standardize. Entrance exam reform. I have to put it in quotes here and separate it with an and or an or standardized testing reform. It's just going to look for one of those concepts. Oh, executive. Oh, there's only 5. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. So so the critical lens that I was talking about, the gender differences, depression. These are some of the things that you could use. I mean, in like a more advanced paper. I think you only have to do 3. Look at that. Okay. On these also, when you click on these, there's a citation generator too. It's close, it's not perfect. But if you go over to the side here, there's a citation generator and you can email yourself the article. When you're going through the articles, if you look at the titles and save like 6 of them, then after you've saved those 6 that you think look pretty good, then go in and just read the abstract. And if you understand it and go, oh yeah, this is interesting, and you can grab a single point out of it that you think is good, you're good to go. If you read the abstract and you're like, I have no idea what this person is saying, then that's a tosser. There's 2 million things published every year in scholarly journals, so you don't have to get the perfect one. Just get the ones that say the things that you want to support in your narrative. Okay, let me know how it goes.